Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch, and today I'm going to be reviewing one of the latest Pilot's watches for IWC. This is the 2021 Big Pilot Watch 43. This is actually the smallest sized Big Pilot's watch that IWC has ever made, and for that reason I call it the littlest Big Pilot watch. At 43 millimeters wide, it's much smaller than the normal 46 or 48 millimeter wide sized Big Pilot. For a lot of people, this will be the first Big Pilot's watch from IWC that they'll be interested in because of their wrist anatomy or their size preferences. So this is a very interesting product because it tries to bridge a gap between people wearing the smaller IWC Pilot's watches and the traditional Big Pilot's watches that are much larger. IWC is trying to make the classic Pilot's watch look a little bit more like a jewelry watch. They want the watch to be associated not just with aviation and sports, but also with elegance, masculinity, a little bit like a dress watch, a business watch for someone that doesn't want your classic blank dial with black leather strap. This one has that simplicity. It just tells the time, not even the date, but it has a lot of other little features that suggest different types of activities and a personality. In a recent interview with the current IWC CEO, Chris Granger, we talked about the personality behind people that like aviator watches. And when he told me is he thought that aviation watches like this were for risk takers. And I thought that was very interesting because people want to wear their personality on their wrist with the watch, but if you want to be conservative about it at the same time, it can be difficult to get a watch which is very subtle in what it says, but also tells people something about you. So for someone that wants a classic conservative dress watch who's a bit of a risk taker, the IWC Big Pilot's 43 is a good option. The watch, in addition to being 43 millimeters wide, it's got about a 52 millimeter lug-to-lug distance and this large crown. Now this crown is called a turnip-style crown, and it's one of the most classic aviator elements of the dial. These crowns were developed originally for people to operate them with gloves on if they were flying, and while they're technically oversized for most people's hands, it creates an interesting look that really gives this the pilot's watch experience. This is the bracelet, the matching steel bracelet, which comes with this on the blue dial, but there's also a leather strap as well as a rubber strap, which is available for the Big Pilot's Watch 43. The leather strap has the two rivets on it, which are also very visually indicative of classic pilot's watches. And so that's another look that people will want to look at, but I do think that on the bracelet, the Big Pilot's Watch 43 has that dressy, elegant look that it doesn't quite get on the strap, which makes it a little bit more of a sports watch. The bracelet also has an easy release system, which allows you to take it off of the case, but it uses a traditional spring bar. And what that means is you can outfit this watch with any third-party aftermarket strap, or you can use one of IWC's and this interesting system. So I think it's really great that they had the toolless strap release system, but it also gives the community the ability to use any other strap that they want. The bracelet also has a micro adjust in the deployant, which allows you to open and close it a few millimeters by pressing the IWC logo here. And that's great because it gives you some comfort throughout the day if you want to open it or close it a little bit. I find this feature really, really useful. This isn't the only IWC which features it, but I'm glad that a lot of them have it. Inside the watch is the calibre 82-100 automatic in-house made movement. This is a really interesting movement because it features some new parts that IWC has been experimenting with and I think are very, very revolutionary. They are watch parts made out of ceramic. And if you look at the movement, you'll see some black colored parts. Those are ceramic ones. Zirconium oxide parts, in contrast to metal, are much more wear resistant. And now that they've been able to engineer them with the type of precision necessary for watch gears, you have this new ability to have very durable, long-lasting watch movements in part of the larger effort to see about how the engineers in the watchmaking space can replace metal to allow watch movements to do things they've never been able to do in the past. Wear resistance and the ability to operate with less or no lubrication has always been a very interesting area for watchmakers because it means you have to service your watch less, and it also means that the watch can last longer. The debut version of the Big Pilot's Watch 43 comes with this blue dial as well as the black dial. Very conservative, very simple, but also almost universal in their appeal. Every single person, no matter your age or what you look like, can get away with wearing a black dial or a blue dial watch. The hands on this dial are polished. The hour markers are white and printed, which is a particular combination that IWC has mostly reserved for their dressier timepieces. Other more tool-style pilot's watches would have matte hands and dials that are a little bit less glossy. But what you see here is a real combination of traditional sports watch elements with a more of a lifestyle component, which is really important to the IWC brand today. Going back to the movement, the calibre 82-100 operates at 4 Hz and has about 60 hours of power reserve. You can see the movement through the case back, and it's very, very attractive, not only in the way that it's polished, but the way that the bridges are designed. They're almost skeletonized. You can see through parts of them to see how the movement works. IWC has a large assortment of movements that they make in-house, and what I like about them is that each of them are a little bit different. They don't use just one modular design they work off of, but if you look close to their movements, there's a lot of variety. And the movement is actually one of the major reasons that you'd want to invest in this type of watch, because it has one that looks simple on the dial, but once you flip it over, offers a very intriguing experience. The Big Pilot Watch 43 is probably going to be best for people that didn't feel that the larger Big Pilot watches were a good fit for them and want a slightly larger dressy watch. It's a little bit of a bold statement, it's got a little bit of flashiness to it. You can tell, for example, that there's polished elements such as the middle links in the bracelet, which traditionally in many IWC watches would have been all brushed. So for a little bit of a showy piece that still has a conservative demeanor and connects with the whole heritage of flying and sports watches, this is a great option. Price for the IWC Big Pilot Watch 43 on the steel metal bracelet is $9,350, and you can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch.com. Thanks.